guys, this is Bobby with Bobby Stamps, and I have my project that I'm going to share with you today, and it is the super cute K-Cup holder. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but it has two Starbucks pumpkin spice coffees, and I have had this made for several weeks. And I don't know why, I just kept postponing making the video. And so I thought today I would make it for you guys. I have changed up the DSP just a bit. I mean, it's the same colors, but it's this one instead of this one. And then this original one, I didn't put DSP on the sides, but today I think I will. So let's go ahead and get started. Now I went ahead and pre-scored my base because I like to use my Simply scoreboard, but I also had to use my Stampin' Trimmer. I do better when I'm working with the like 7/8, 1/8, all that kind of stuff on my trimmer. So that's why I went ahead and did that. But I will show you what I did. So our base is 7.5 by 12, and this is Cajun Craze. And on the short side, I have to read my notes over here. I scored it at 1.5 on this side, turned it, scored it at 1.5 again. And then on the long side, I scored it at 4 7/8. Whoops, wrong one, see? Right here. 4 7/8 all the way down, and then turned it and did 4 7/8 again on this side, all the way down. Then I scored it at 3.5. down to the first score line, popped down here, 3.5 to that first score line, flip it over, do the same thing, 3.5 down to that first score line, 3.5 down to that first score line. Okay, so that is for our base of the holder. And then this piece is another piece of Cajun Craze. And let me find my measurements on this. It is 7 3/8 by 5 1/8. And you'll just score this one at 1.5 all the way around. So 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. Okay. Let's move this out of the way. Let me move my scoreboard. And then we will just burnish our score marks. Move that out of the way. And let's see, make sure you get the full ones and not those partial ones. Okay, right like that. Then you will take your paper snips, and we're going to cut away this first rectangle right here. So just cut that completely away. We don't need it, get rid of it. We're gonna do this on both ends. And if you're better with your paper trimmer, you could put it in your paper trimmer to do your trimming. I am not, so I am choosing to use my paper snips, my scissors. Okay, and then we'll just cut that away. Same thing here. I can never tell on my phone if I'm in camera range. My phone has so much better quality than what my camcorder did, but I had the little viewfinder where I could look up and see what I was doing. Okay, I'm gonna switch my scissors. I am gonna trim this just a little bit better to get rid of that score mark. Now I'm just gonna trim up, and then I'm just gonna slightly wedge just to remove that bulky score mark. And I'm just gonna do the same thing on this one. And then do the same thing here, cut up. And I'm gonna just remove that bulk in the middle, and then slightly miter that corner there. Rotate it around, do the same thing. And you know what, I did that on the wrong side, so I'm just gonna do it like that so I can get rid of that. And then slightly miter that one. Do the same thing on this one, miter that one, and slightly miter that one. Okay, clean up my mess a little bit. Okay, So this is what you're left with. Let's go ahead, put our DSP. So you need 2 pieces. Did I leave? I must have lost a piece because I know I cut 2. Okay, let me find my other piece of DSP. I must have accidentally thought I picked up 2 and only picked up 1. I cannot find that other piece of DSP. I have no idea what happened to it, but I know I cut it 100%. Okay, I'm gonna use Tombow just because I want to be able to make sure I get this positioned on here straight. So let's go ahead and just line that up, and I'm just checking my borders all the way around to make sure I have it as straight as I can get it, with the borders as even as I can get it. Okay, same thing, we'll just pick this up and make sure we have it as straight as we can get it. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry just for a minute. And then if I didn't tell you, your DSP is 4 1/4 by 4 3/4. And then if you do want to put it on the sides like I'm going to, you will cut 2 pieces at 1 3/8 by 2 inches, okay? But we're gonna wait before we do that. I want to use the story label punch. And you guys, it's been so long since I made this, I honestly can't remember if I punched both of these at once, if I was able to get through that, or if I had to punch them separately. And I'm thinking I had to punch them separately, but I'm gonna give it a try. So I am just looking at my sides to try to make sure I have it. And this, you really want to be careful. You don't want to get your fingers popped in there, but I'm gonna go ahead and make the imprint. I'm not gonna be able to get through both layers, but at least I made that imprint where I kind of know. So see, now I can kind of see. So I'm just gonna go in, and I can kind of see these markings where it was. And then I can just kind of line this one up now. I'm gonna get it as straight as I can. And we'll bring in this again. Let's see, line it up. I'm gonna line it up the best I can. And hopefully I can get through that piece. Maybe not. I'm trying not to get my fingers. Let's just do it this way. We'll do it just like we did that one. We can kind of see where the markings are, and we'll just line them up. That's a lot to get through. And it should line up fairly close. And it did. Okay, let's put that back. Now we can go ahead, put our adhesive, and close up our sides of the box. So let's go ahead and, oh, you know what? I meant to do this. What am I thinking? I'm going to put it, since I have it opened, I'm just going to put Tombow and use that. And I'm going to put my finger in the glue first. I'm going to bring that piece up, and you have to hold it just a minute to let the Tombow take a hold of your cardstock. And then I'm going to fold this one over. Same thing. I'm just going to make sure I have those lined up right there. Okay. And then I'm just going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to go ahead and put the Tombow right there. I'm going to fold this one up. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fold that one up since I already have them both in there. Just kind of hold them both together at the same time. And you guys can take your time. You don't have to try to move as fast as I am right now, just so I don't make the video be so long. Let's go ahead and put some more adhesive on that. And then you'll just put this on your sides. Make sure you get it nice and straight. Flip this one over, same thing. Put your adhesive right like that. Okay, now let's move on to our little tray. We will varnish all of our score marks. Okay, now this one we do need to cut out the little circles. That is gonna actually, let me show you if you guys can see in here. So I can just pop these out and I'll show you. I don't know if I can get it all out or not. So this is what we're gonna make. This is your little tray insert. So we're going to use, let me just move this out of the way. I'm not gonna try to get it back in there. We need these K-cups anyway. So now let me grab my layering circles. Okay, so let me clear some stuff out of the way. Move all of this. Put the lid back on my Tombow. I'll try to edit this to make it not be so long. I hate making long videos. Okay, so we're going to use our layering circles to cut out those 2 circles for the K-cup. So the first one, I'm just going to eyeball it, basically. I mean, you can measure it if you want it to be perfect. I'm not that concerned. It's going to be inside. I am just kind of looking at my original one to see how far I need to go in. So I do want to move this in just a little bit like that. And I think that is going to be okay. And then we'll just put this on here. Hopefully that will not move. And we'll just cut that out. Okay. So we'll pop that out. Now, let's go ahead and we'll do the same thing. I'm just going to lay that down and kind of eyeball it. I'm just visually looking, it's not going to be perfect. It's not manufactured in a factory, it's handmade. Imperfections are expected. Okay, let's pop that out. Get rid of those. Move the Big Shot, or my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Not get used to that new name. Okay, so then on these, we're just going to cut up on these score marks. Whoops, on each side. Just like that. Okay, then we'll put adhesive, fold that together. So on this, I'm just going to quickly put some Stampin' Seal Plus. Oops, ripped my paper. That does that once in a while because this is such strong adhesive. Okay, if I can pick it up, then we're just going to match up our corners on each side. Match that one up and that one, and then you have your little insert. So let's grab our container, and this should fit perfectly just like it does. And the circles aren't perfect, they're not perfectly straight, but you know what, they're straight enough to make me happy. Just pop them down. Let's grab some of our ribbon. Trying to find my original one so I can kind of remember how I did this. Let's go ahead and tie it together. And I'm just going to tie a bow. Cute little bow. Kind of a big bow, actually. This is kind of a bigger container. So let's see. I want it bigger than that, so I'm gonna go bigger than this. So let's start over. And then you can decide which side, it doesn't really matter which side you want to be your front, but I'm just going to use this one, I think. Let's start that bow over again. And then we'll trim this one. And then you can kind of finagle it to go the way you want it to go. And let's see, let's straighten that one up. Straighten that one up a little bit. Oops, stuck to my finger. I must have adhesive on my thumb. I'm gonna pull this one just a little bit. Okay, kind of pull it down. I'm gonna cut this one off a little bit like that. Then I'm gonna take some of the shimmer ribbon, metallic ribbon, and I'm just gonna cut this off like that. Let me grab my little acorn, and you can do one or you could do two. You can put as many as you want on here. I'm just gonna do one. That's what I did with my original. So I'm just going to feed that right through that little hole, and it really helps if you have it cut at a sharp angle. So that's what I just did, and I'll just feed one piece in, that one end in there, pull it through, and then I'm just going to pull this around like so. Let's make that be right there where it's front and center. Oops. Okay, let's go ahead and tie that around the knot. You can tie this in a bow. I'm just going to tie it in a knot. And then I'm just going to trim those off. And I want a little bit left on there, so I'm just going to leave just a little bit. Okay, let me get this out of my way. And then I have my labels. And I used the beautiful, one of my favorite, the Stitch So Sweetly dies. And I used Cajun Craze to cut out the larger one. And then 2 Mint Macaron for those 2, okay? So I'm going to stamp using Early Espresso. I'm going to stamp the sentiment on the larger one. And this says, Golden Leaves, Chilly Air, Autumn Beauty, Everywhere. And then for this one, it's going to say, For You. So we'll just put that right there like that. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my dimensionals. And we're going to pop this up. And you'll just center this right in the middle of the Cajun Craze. So let's just go ahead and do that. Right like that. And then we'll pop one. Probably going to put 2 on the back of the smaller one. Whoops, I said 2 and picked up 3. Don't know what's going on with my Stampin' Dimensionals lately, but been having some issues picking them up. And then we'll put this one right down here, right in that corner like that. And then let's put some on the back of the larger one. I'm almost over, guys. Stick with me a few more minutes. Okay. And then we'll just put that right on the front in the center like that. And there you go. This is a super cute K-cup holder. And I hope you guys enjoy it. And thanks so much for stopping by today. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And also make sure you hit the little bell icon so that way you're notified every time I upload a video, and I do them on Mondays and Thursdays. Thanks, guys.